Well, yes, let's get right to it. Emmanuel Ikazoboh is joining me in the studio to take a look at that big news. Yesterday, 58 stockbrokers suspended from trading on the NSE. Thank you so much, Mr. Ikazoboh, for joining us on the show. Let's get right into it. What exactly is the background to this, and why were these? What was the reason for the non-compliance by these companies? Some are arguing that it's probably as a result of losses from proprietary trading, or the other option is that it's due to the fact that they simply did not comply with the increase in capital requirements in 2007.
But no matter what it is, what's important is that we have rules, and which must be respected. The rule is that you have to have a capital adequacy of a 70 million minimum. It is not that it has to be 70, it's minimum of 70 million. And therefore, if you want to trade in the market, you must have that minimum capital.
But what exactly
like
did
you
you
say? I agree that some of them had margin loans that may have resulted in the losses they are now reporting. But that doesn't mean that we must allow them start trading with investors' funds. Because what that means is that they have no funds of their own anymore. They are therefore using their investors' funds. And we are here to protect the investors. So most of them agree with us in these actions we are taking.
I mean, obviously there must have been some dialogue before this. On the 7th, I know there was a meeting of CEOs. What exactly was discussed with regards to this capitalization, undercapitalization?
This meeting the discussion had been on since October last year. At their CIS conference, we had a town hall meeting in which this issue was discussed exhaustively. We had another meeting in November the 6th, where this issue was also discussed. In January the 7th, we had this issue discussed again. And I told them at that meeting, in which SEC DG was there present, where we made it absolutely clear that if by the next week, which was last week, if we have found any of the stock brokerage houses not having adequate capital, we will definitely, suspend them from the market.
So what's going forward now? What's the way forward for them? What will it take to restore these trading privileges?
Well, you need to ensure that you have adequate capital, and the minimum is 70 million.
So they just need to show you in a statement that they have 70 million and they'll be allowed to trade immediately?
No, what is going to happen is that we'll have to look at your balance sheet. What had happened was, you would have noticed that this is a step-by-step approach. We had actually suspended a number of brokers for non-submission of financial statements last year. And then they have all complied with that now, submitting their financials. Looking at the financials, we now discovered that you have capital inadequacy. So the next step is you do not have adequate capital. So go out there, introduce more funds into your business so that we can see that clients' funds have been properly separated from your funds, and you're only trading with your funds. So the 70 million we are talking is your funds, not clients' funds.
Some are asking that how credible is this process really? To what extent has the NSE verified the statements of even those that have been cleared from this process? How credible has been the process? How do you react to that?
Well, this is the first step. Like I said, we asked them for their financial statement. This step we're taking is based on the financial statement submitted. From next week, we're going to start a thorough audit of all the broker-dealer firms, looking at their financials. We're going to send out teams, and then we will look at those financials. And even those that have been suspended will be re-audited. Those that are not in the hook now will be audited thoroughly. And then we'll now find out for those who either window dressed their balance sheet or did not disclose adequate information, it means there's an integrity problem, and we'll take appropriate action against such dealers.
And brokers. Is there a timeline for that process?
Well, we're trying to work towards, by the end of February, we should have completed all this, and then we'll be able to clean up the market. And
let's come back to enforcement of rules, because you did allude to the fact that it's possible that some broker companies are trading with client funds, and obviously the rules state that you must separate your proprietary investments and funds from the client funds. To what extent has the NSE looked into the numbers of these broker firms and confirmed that that's indeed what's going on?
Well, that's why this audit is on. But again, in addition to that, we have also held a meeting with them in which we agreed going forward from 1st of April that we are going to have a mixed custodian approach. In other parts of the world, it's a full custodian that funds and portfolio are held by a custodian. The broker is only getting his commission by introducing the brokers, buying the stocks and selling and getting your commission. But right here, we have a lot of brokers that are doing both custodianship and everything. So all those will be separated from 1st of April, and that will take care of that.
And then people are also asking for more because we look at markets like the US where banking results are coming out now. JP Morgan, we know it's going to come out on this day. Goldman Sachs would be announced on this day. But it's not that clear in Nigeria. And people are looking forward to the day where we can anticipate that, for instance, GTB is going to release its results on March the 5th and UBA will release on March the 7th. When can we get to that point where we can begin to look at a results calendar in Nigeria?
I believe we'll soon get there. First of all, like I said, in the past, a lot of companies we are not submitting their accounts as and when due. Quarterly returns are not sent. Now, because of the punitive actions we've taken and enforcement of the rules, they are all submitting as and when due. So now, for those who know that by March, they must submit their financials. We know before end of March we'll get it. The next step will be now to start the process of agreeing with the companies upfront. When do you expect in that month you are going to have your board meeting and approve those financials? If we get those dates, we will then let them know that we're holding them to it, that the day in which the board meeting is held, we expect to get those financials or released by the next morning so that it's released into the markets.
Let's talk about the new CEO, Oscar Inyama, from the former vice president at the American Exchange, is coming on board. When exactly should we expect him to arrive, and what's going to be the transition?
Well, we expect that the full executive team, right now we have not only Oscar Onyama, we have one Adebajomo, who is coming from Barclays. He is also going to be the executive director for IT and market operations. We're expecting to get 2 more executive directors. All this will be completed. This exercise will be completed by end of February. Then we have 1 month in between. So by 1st of April, we expect the full team to be in place.
And you are going to step aside immediately?
Not immediately. I have to work with them for a few months, maximum 3 months, after which probably I will then step aside.
Well, all the best. It's been a tough year, I can imagine. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much indeed.
Emmanuel Ikazoboh, CEO of Nigerian Stock Exchange, giving us his thoughts on the Nigerian market. Obviously, a lot is going on here.